Welcome to Global Feed. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. In American democracy, the Supreme Court stands as the final authority on the nation's most divisive legal questions. Its marble columns and historic halls are more than just symbols. They are the setting for decisions that echo across generations, influencing the very fabric of American life. Its 9 justices, appointed for life, interpret the Constitution, and their decisions ripple through every aspect of society. These justices are tasked with weighing complex issues, from civil rights to economic policy, and their interpretations can either uphold or overturn decades of legal precedent. A single ruling can redefine freedoms, settle decades-long debates, and set the country on a new course. Whether it's about marriage equality, voting rights, or freedom of speech, the court's decisions often become turning points in American history, sparking national conversations, and sometimes even protests. These decisions are not just legal theory, they shape what we can do in our daily lives. From the schools our children attend to the rights we exercise at work or in public, Supreme Court rulings touch every corner of American society, often in ways we may not immediately notice. Supreme Court precedents often last for generations, outlasting political cycles, and shaping the legal landscape for years to come. These landmark decisions become the foundation for future laws and court cases, guiding how justice is interpreted and applied long after the original justices have left the bench. Each case is watched closely, as outcomes can validate or overturn laws affecting millions. The nation often waits anxiously for the court's verdicts, knowing that a single decision can change the course of history, influence elections, and alter the rights of everyday people. The court's power is enduring, and its rulings reflect the legal philosophies of the justices, changing as the court's composition shifts. As new justices are appointed, the direction of the court can change, leading to new interpretations of the Constitution and shifts in national policy. Understanding the Supreme Court is essential for any engaged citizen, as its decisions directly impact the rights and responsibilities of all Americans. By following the court's work, we gain insight into how our laws evolve and how justice is defined in our society, reminding us that democracy is shaped not just by elected officials, but by those who interpret the law at the highest level. When you hear about a 6-3 Supreme Court ruling, it refers to the current ideological split on the nation's highest court, a division that has become one of the most talked about features of the modern judiciary. This split isn't just a matter of numbers, it represents a fundamental difference in how the Constitution is interpreted and how the law is applied to the most pressing issues facing the country. There are 6 conservative justices and 3 liberal justices, each bringing their own judicial philosophies and backgrounds to the bench. This balance of power shapes not only the outcomes of cases, but also the types of cases the court chooses to hear. This conservative supermajority, shaped by decades of political strategy and careful selection of nominees, now defines what is often called the Roberts Court. The process of nominating and confirming justices has become increasingly contentious, reflecting the high stakes involved in shaping the court's direction for years to come. Unlike past eras, when a single swing justice could tip the balance, today's court often delivers outcomes that are more predictable, especially on major social and political issues. The days of closely divided, unpredictable decisions have largely given way to a more consistent ideological pattern. The conservative bloc tends to favor originalist and textualist readings of the Constitution, arguing that the meaning of the law should be rooted in its original text and historical context. This approach has driven a series of recent landmark decisions that have reshaped American law. All 6 conservative justices were appointed by Republican presidents, while the 3 liberals were chosen by Democratic presidents. This pattern highlights how presidential elections can have a lasting impact on the court's makeup and, by extension, on American society. Because Supreme Court justices serve for life, this ideological divide is not just a temporary feature. It will shape the direction of American law and society for an entire generation, influencing everything from civil rights to government power. Already, 6-3 rulings have ended the constitutional right to abortion, expanded gun rights, and limited the federal government's ability to regulate the environment. These decisions have sparked passionate debate and protest across the country, underscoring the court's central role in American life. Each major decision signals the immense influence of the court's conservative wing, and legal experts continue to debate how far this majority might go in reshaping established precedents. The 6-3 split is now a defining feature of American law, with every major ruling reflecting this deep ideological alignment. As the court continues to decide cases that affect millions, its ideological divide remains at the heart of the nation's legal and political debates. In a closely watched case, the Supreme Court's latest 6-3 decision in Nakamura versus Hawaii has sent shockwaves through the legal and political landscape. The court struck down a Hawaii law that required people to get explicit permission before carrying guns into private businesses that are open to the public. This ruling has major implications for how states can regulate firearms in everyday spaces, and it's already sparking heated debate across the country. The conservative majority argued that the law violated the Second Amendment, which protects the right to keep and bear arms. They reasoned that forcing people to ask for permission essentially cancels out the right to carry a firearm for self-defense, especially in places where people go about their daily lives, like stores, restaurants, and other businesses. The decision builds on the court's 2022 Bruin ruling, which set a new standard. Gun laws must be consistent with the nation's historical tradition. This means that modern regulations are only allowed if there's a clear historical precedent for them, dating back to the founding era. In this case, the majority found no evidence that, at the time of the nation's founding, people needed preemptive permission to carry firearms on private property that was open to the public. They concluded that Hawaii's law was out of step with the country's historical practices and therefore unconstitutional. Despite this sweeping decision, the court declined to take up challenges to state bans on assault weapons, leaving those laws in place for now. This means that while the right to carry in public access businesses has been expanded, states can still regulate certain types of firearms, at least until a future case changes that. The dissenting justices strongly disagreed, warning that the ruling undermines the rights of property owners to control what happens on their premises. They argued it could create confusion for business owners and increase risks for both employees and customers, especially in sensitive environments. Ultimately, this decision highlights the Supreme Court's deep ideological divide on gun rights. It sets the stage for more legal battles over the Second Amendment, as states and cities try to balance public safety with constitutional freedoms in the years ahead. The Nakamura decision flips the legal default in many states. Licensed gun owners can now carry firearms into most businesses unless the owner posts clear signs prohibiting them. Business owners must actively opt out to keep their premises gun-free, making every entrance a statement in the gun debate. For citizens, this means more exposure to legally armed individuals in everyday places, sparking both reassurance and anxiety. The ruling creates a patchwork of rules, requiring vigilance from gun owners and the public alike. Law enforcement faces new challenges distinguishing between legal carriers and threats, complicating public safety. This new reality fundamentally alters the social dynamics of public spaces and places, new pressures on communities and police. The Nakamura ruling drew immediate polarized reactions. Gun rights groups celebrated it as a victory for self-defense and constitutional freedom, arguing it dismantles arbitrary gun-free zones. They see it as a restoration of Second Amendment rights beyond the home. Gun control advocates condemn the decision as reckless, warning it will lead to more guns in public and endanger safety. They argue it tramples property rights and ignores public support for gun regulation. The ruling has intensified calls for legislative action and deepened the national divide over gun policy. The Nakamura decision immediately invalidates similar laws in states like California, New York, and New Jersey, forcing them to rewrite their regulations. It sets a new national standard, requiring states to align with a more permissive interpretation of the Second Amendment. The ruling strengthens the history and tradition test, making it harder for states to defend gun control laws in court. Gun rights advocates are likely to challenge a wide range of existing regulations, from licensing to waiting periods. However, the court's refusal to address assault weapon bans leaves a major question unresolved, creating legal uncertainty. States may respond by crafting new laws to empower property owners or protect gun-free zones. The future of gun regulation will hinge on both state innovation and the makeup of the Supreme Court. Nakamura v. Hawaii marks a turning point in America's gun debate, shifting the default toward broader gun rights in public spaces. The ruling puts the burden on property owners to declare their spaces gun-free and on states to adapt their laws. Expect a wave of new legislation, legal challenges, and visible no-guns-allowed signs across the country. The unresolved issue of assault weapon bans ensures more Supreme Court battles ahead. The court's conservative majority is steering the nation toward a more expansive view of the Second Amendment. The future of American gun laws will be shaped by upcoming cases and the justices who decide them. This decision is not the end, but another chapter in the ongoing constitutional struggle over guns in America.